welcome back to Ghosting with Anya. I'm your host, Anya Smith, also the author of Anya's Ghost Stories Volume 1 and Volume 2, The Return of the Dead. Today was a little strange, so Fearless and I didn't hang out that much, so we went to his clinic so he could pick up his meds. Then we went to his house. I pretty much hung out there. He went to get the cycle, and then he came back. So Christopher came and picked me up after his little errands. So yeah. Anyway, Chris and I went to Little China Buffet, had lunch. Now we're home, relaxing. Did not go anywhere because it is extremely hot outside.
I'm amazed I was able to eat soup there because it was so hot. I normally don't like heat when it's hot out. Soup when it's hot out.
Exactly. Yeah, so exactly. My husband normally never, ever eats extremely hot food. The weather is like almost 1,000 degrees outside. So we are definitely just going to, we're not going to go anywhere. After this episode, I'm probably just going to, get ready for bed because, I'm probably just going to hang out and get ready for tomorrow. So anyway, I hope you guys are ready for this new story. It is called The Janitor in the Science Wing. Had something to do with the spirit of a scientist. I don't know, the janitor maybe, or whoever is in the science wing. So anyway, are you guys ready? Are you brave enough to listen to these stories, or brave enough to give me some questions or some opinions, maybe some answers to? Let me know. But also, we returned our keys to 75th and Pacific, which is the manager's office. Christopher actually had to, so we don't have keys. So we're not returning to our old house because we don't live there. There's nothing left in that house. We don't get any mail from that apartment anymore. So we're officially out. So now we are currently living right here at the Sunset Hills townhouse at the Chateau Drive. So that's where we live now. And anyway, during the day, we have a business thing here in the office, but at night, it is my studio. So it is actually 8:39 p.m. and I hope you guys are ready. So, if this story is going to make any sense to you once I start reading the story. And here's my husband and our cat. So he's my co-host. He's part of my show. I don't mind if he's part of my show. I also don't mind that our cat is right there, right behind my husband. So let's get started on the story. We're still on season 5. We're getting closer to episode 200. Yay! Give yourselves a big applause when we entered to like over 100 episodes. So we are on episode 182. So give yourselves applause. Yay! I'm so glad we are over 100 episodes. Anyway, get yourself something to drink, sit back and relax. Also get under the covers. Please click like, share, and subscribe. And let's get started on the story. So we'll be doing for the next 100 episodes right after I'm done with the episode 199. So we are in episode 182. So let's get started. So anyway, just leave me comments down below if you have anything to add or like any stories. I would love to hear them. And if you have a lot of experience with a lot of paranormal stuff, let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's get started. The Janitor in the Science Wing. Season 5, episode 182. Omar liked working campus maintenance during winter break because empty buildings were easier company than professors. Hawthorne College, after finals, became a half-abandoned city of locked labs, dim corridors, and vending machines humming to themselves in academic isolation. Most crews preferred residence halls and common areas where the work was visible and warm. Omar didn't mind the science wing. It had clean floors, manageable trash, and the satisfying geometry of long hallways lined with closed doors. The old chemistry building, however, carried a reputation even among practical staff. Motion sensors there triggered in empty labs, prep rooms, faucets ran briefly with no pressure issues, and the sub-basement freight elevator was known to stop at level B, with no one having calling it. Omar shrugged that off as old wiring and faculty gossip. Then he found a mop bucket already filled and waiting outside lab 214 with a wrung cloth draped neatly over the handle. Yeah, something tells me there is a ghost probably helping Omar. Omar has no idea what is happening because he's just a janitor probably. Maybe he doesn't realize that there's something at the science lab, maybe like some kind of ghost. I mean, there's a lot of ghosts all over the freaking place. From each stories, there's a lot of abandoned places that are haunted, especially this one. I mean, I don't go into science lab all the time because I actually do not work at the science lab. I'm not a scientist. My husband's not a scientist, but one day in the future, he actually will let his body be, I don't know, whatever the scientists call it, monitored. weird. What do you think the scientists are gonna do to your body?
I don't know.
Analyze your body, see what killed you?
Probably.
Yeah, that's what scientists are here for. Monitoring what my husband's body was like. I mean, they're trying to figure out what killed my husband, but my husband is still alive. He's in his 30s right now, married to me, and we raise a cat. We take good care of our baby girl, who is actually cleaning herself and licking my husband's back of his head. My cat loves doing that. So, anyway, she also loves to hear her mama's voice. So, anyway, let's continue on the story. So, sorry about the noise, guys. My husband's talking to someone. It's either my mom or his mommy or whoever.
Yeah.
Who's texting you?
Oh, just an old co-worker named Arcanian.
Oh. Yeah, he's talking to his old friend from his past. His old co-worker. So, anyway, let's continue on the story. Because after this, after the questions and answers, I gotta sign off. And I gotta get ready for bed because it's almost 9 p.m. So, anyway, if you guys want longer stories, let me know. Or if you guys want me to go back to 8 o'clock sharp, let me know. Just leave me comments down below and we'll figure something out. I don't have a schedule because I don't make my own schedules. I can go on whenever I want, like any time I want, because it's my show and I used to go at any time, 9, 10. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you have any opinions, just leave me comments down. Anyway, let's continue on the story. This is gonna be awesome. He had not filled it. No one else was assigned to that floor. The water was warm. Omar dumped it out on principle and went about stripping wax from the hallway. Minutes later, the bucket was back outside 214, this time with 2 cloths and a small broom set beside it, like a rebuke. He looked down the hall, expecting someone to be watching. Maybe another custodian trying to be funny. The corridor remained empty end to end. Through the square glass window of 214, he could see only lab benches and hanging models. As he bent to move the bucket, he heard a low male voice from inside the lab say, "Acid cabinet first." Omar stepped back, heard enough to hit the cinder block while he opened the door with his master key. The lab was empty, yet the acid cabinet in the back room stood ajar, and a bottle of long-dried reagent had leaked a brittle white trail down the shelf, exactly where the mop bucket had been useful. The department chair responded to Omar's report with too much patience, which is often how institutions disguise discomfort. She admitted the building once employed a janitor named Lewis, who worked nights and became unofficially indispensable to the chemistry faculty because he noticed leaks, misstored regions, and unsafe habits before students or professors did. He died after an overnight incident involving a solvent spill and poor ventilation in the old prep area before modern safety systems were installed. Officially, he was listed as maintenance staff lost in an industrial accident. Unofficially, older faculty said Lewis had saved 2 graduate students by finding the spill first and shutting a door they had left open. Since then, certain messes seemed to get noticed in that wing before the noticed them. He wasn't a scientist, the chair said, but he understood consequences better than most of them. I think maybe there was an actual janitor. Somehow he accidentally got himself killed by some kind of mechanical something, or like whatever the lab was doing. I don't know. He spilled something and it made him lose his life. So he's been hanging around the scientist lab ever since, and maybe looking after the students, perhaps. Maybe it was the principal or something like that. That principal must have was once a student at that school. No wonder why that person survived, but Lewis, the janitor, did not. So he's been hanging around that building ever since his death. So anyway, do you think that this is actually relatable to this story? Do you think it happened in real life? Let me know if you think this story is actually related to my stories that I'm reading to you all on live stream. So all you have to do is let me know what you guys think. Just give me any, a comment down below, any of your opinions. Just let me know what you guys think. So anyway, let's continue on the story. That explanation sat with Omar the way some practical truths do, awkwardly but securely. Over the next week, he began noticing patterns. If a bin held something improperly disposed of, he would find it set out in the hall before he reached the room. If a sink was left barely dripping in a lab, the faucet would be turned fully off by the time he made his rounds. Once, after he skipped checking a storage room because he was eager to finish early. The freight elevator stopped on level B, and held its doors open until he went back inside the storage room. He found a toppled shelving unit leaning on a gas cylinder chain that had nearly failed. None of this felt like haunting in the theatrical sense. It felt like being supervised by a dead man who still believed negligence was contagious. Yeah, that is so creepy. I'm thinking maybe the janitor named Lewis, perhaps. What if that Lewis was trying to make sure Omar did everything he could, like clean everything, made sure the labs and classrooms, science labs, were really spotless, cleaned and spotless. So he tried everything, apparently. I'm thinking maybe Lewis was trying to help Omar, correct him. So I think maybe he was just trying to make sure every floor, every room was cleaned and spotless. No wonder why Lewis kept hanging around for no reason. Maybe he chose Omar or something. I think maybe that's exactly what he did. So Lewis can't move on until Omar realized what was going on and realized that Lewis is a spirit trying to help Omar. But now that he knows, apparently, with the story, maybe he saw the articles, all the clippings, and what happened many decades ago. And how can Omar help the spirit of the old janitor named Lewis to move on into the afterlife so he won't feel like he is being haunted? So he's probably too afraid, but he's trying to be brave enough to get everything clean so he can go home and relax until the next time. So anyway, let's continue on the story. And I hope that Omar realized that Lewis was not trying to haunt him. He was trying to help him, trying to tell him what happened. He was trying to show him the past. So, and I think hopefully Omar realizes that what happened. He wanted Omar to know how Lewis passed away and how he ended up trapped in the spirit world inside the building where he once worked when he was alive. So let's just continue on this, and I hope you guys got this story sentenced up or something. I hope this makes any sense to you all. Even I'm still trying to process all that. Anyway, let's continue on the story. It's already like almost 9 o'clock anyway. The first time Omar saw Lewis clearly, it was snowing outside and the science wing had gone into holiday quiet, so complete he could hear the ventilation changes between floors. He was buffing the corridor outside the old prep room when the machine suddenly cut off despite being plugged in ahead. Under the flicker of a failing fluorescent tube stood a man in coveralls with a ring of keys at his belt and one sleeve rolled higher than the other. His face was lined, his posture tired, and his expression carried that familiar working man mixture of impatience and competence Omar had known in older custodians all his life. Lewis did not look at Omar directly. He pointed the broom handle he carried toward the prep room sink, then tapped it twice against the floor. Omar now passed denial and into irritated opened the prep room. Under the sink, a chemical storage tray had cracked and was seeping fluid into absorbent pads. No one had checked in months. From there, the relationship, if that is what one calls recurring correction by the dead, became almost collegial. Lewis never appeared for conversation, he appeared for prevention. A mistacked box of glassware would somehow get shifted to a safer cart before Omar arrived. A warning placed would be found upright on the desk of the exact professor who needed to see it. Once, after Omar muttered that a postdoc kept leaving unlabeled containers in the cold room, he came in the next night to find every single unlabeled sample arranged in a stern row beneath a sign reading, "If you don't know, nobody does." The sign vanished before anyone else could see it, but the samples were still there. Omar laughed so hard he had to sit down on a lab stool. That was the first time the building felt less haunted than allied. Wow. I feel like Omar finally noticed what was going to happen. I think perhaps maybe Lewis, the former janitor, maybe was trying to warn Omar what was going to happen the same way that happened to him. Do you think Omar was trying to warn? Do you think Lewis was trying to warn Omar?
Yes.
That something bad is going to happen to him if he doesn't read the signs and find out what is really happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Lewis is definitely trying to tell Omar that if he doesn't read that note or realize what was going to happen, he could have died, just like Lewis did. Like, literally. I think that Lewis did prevent that from happening. So even Lewis didn't know what happened to him in the past. So I'm so glad that Lewis told Omar what was going to happen to him. What if the principal knew and just did not really fully tell the truth to Omar? Anyway, let's continue on the story. During a January thaw, campus facilities finally approved renovations to the old prep area and sub-basement ventilation. After years of deferral, Omar, who had filed more hazard notes in 1 month than the previous crew had in 2 years, he was asked to walk the contractor through the wing. He did so with a private sense that the real inspector was standing somewhere just behind his shoulder. In the sub-basement, they discovered sealed behind later drywall the original emergency shut-off niche or Nike, whatever, I don't know. I call it niche probably. Niche. And a plaque. Never rehung after the accident. The brass was tarnished, but legible. Louis Mercer, whose vigilance prevented greater loss. Omar took a photo and, without waiting for administrative ceremony, printed it at the campus copy center and taped it inside the custodial closet door. The next morning, the photo had been wiped clean of dust and centered perfectly above the mop hooks. After the renovations, the science wing calmed. The freight elevator stopped wandering. The prepped room faucet stayed dry. Omar no longer found buckets waiting outside hazardous rooms before he knew he needed them. He missed that more than he expected. On his last round, before classes resumed, he left a fresh ring of utility rags folded under the photo and said aloud, "We got the ventilation fixed. The corridor lights hum. Somewhere down the hall, a lab stool scraped once against tile. The settled Omar took that for acknowledgement. He still works campus maintenance, but whenever new hires mock the idea of ghosts in institutional buildings, he tells them they are thinking too small. Some places don't hold spirits. They hold standards. And some standards are maintained by people who died before policy caught up with what they already knew." Wow. This is so freaky, you guys. I mean, Louis finally convinced Omar and the principal and everyone before the classes were resumed in the next semester. So what you guys think maybe is that Louis prevented from anything bad would happen to Omar or anyone else. So what did you guys think of the story? Do you guys think Omar did the right thing? Do you think Louis finally communicated with Omar? Did he help Omar? Did he tell them what really happened in the past before modern stuff happening or something like that for the technology or something? Anyway, now that the story's done, so let's go with questions. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. Because after this, I'm going straight to bed because I'm tired as shit. It is 9 p.m. already, so let's go with the questions. If you have any, please let me know. If you have any opinions about it, if you think this actually happened many decades ago before my birth or whatever, before I was even born. So anyway, just let me know what you guys think of the story. So let's go with questions. We have only 10 questions and 10 answers. So let's get started. Would you have kept working the science wing after the first bucket reappeared? Yes. I would definitely want to investigate that place. I mean, I would be brave enough to try to talk to the old janitor named Lewis Mercer. I mean, I would want to know what happened. He would try to tell us something, like trying to show us what happened to him, how he died, and he wanted to prevent the next accident. So, do you guys think Lewis did the right thing to help him? Did you guys think that? Do you guys really think that Lewis prevented the accident? And would you ever work at the science wing? Would you literally continue working there?
Yes.
I definitely would too. So my husband says yes. I also said yes. Anyway, let's go to number 2. Do you think Lewis stayed because of duty, frustration, or responsibility?
Responsibility.
I actually agree with my husband this time. Responsibility, like trying to prevent another accident. He was trying to show Omar what was happening, like how he died, I guess, from the accident, maybe. He was trying to communicate with the living. So I think it was the responsibility. So anyway, let's go to number 3. What is more unsettling, the voice in the lab or the pre-filled bucket? I think it was the voice of some kind of spirit.
I agree.
I think it was Lewis Mercer. He was trying to help Omar as well. He was trying to save his life. He was trying to save everyone's lives, but trying to tell him and everyone else what was going to happen again, just like it happened many years ago, like decades ago, apparently. I probably think it was the voice. Do you guys think it was the voice of Lewis Mercer, former janitor of the science wing? Let me know what you guys think. Did Lewis Mercer help Omar prevent from another accident? Let me know in the comments down below if you think it worked. Let's go to number 4. Why are institutional buildings like science wings strong haunting settings? Memories. Spirits are always bound to the place where shit happens. I mean, literally happened. So there is some kind of institutional building, but people were trapped there because things happened in there, like spooky stuff, like where people were tortured, killed, experimented on. And this is why they have really bad history into those places. And you could still hear the voices of people screaming while they're being tortured or something, brainwashed or whatever, like literally electrocuted. This shit probably happened also like many decades ago, like sometime in the 1930s or something like that. I'm not really sure. I wasn't there because I was not born yet. So my grandparents actually were born in 1930s. So yeah, this story might be related to centuries ago or like 100 years ago. That sort of thing. It actually maybe happened 100 years ago or 200 years ago. We don't exactly know what was going on in that institutional building. People were being tortured for no fucking reason. They're trying to get the answers out of these innocent people. I'm guessing the scientists were, I don't know, experimenting on something, or like maybe on people or on animals or whatever these scientists were doing. Anyway, this is a lot of haunting shit going on, and Lewis, I don't know what. Somehow, maybe he knew what was going on, but he was scared, so he died of an accident, and he is literally still bound to that place now that Omar knows what's happening. So Omar somehow freed Lewis, and now he can find peace and move on into the afterlife because the accident was prevented. So I think that Omar did help the spirit get the truth and convinced everyone to see what happened centuries ago. Let's go to number 5. All right, you guys, we are about 5 questions left before I sign off. So, was Omar right to treat Lewis like a coworker instead of a threat? Yes. I think Omar treated Lewis like a coworker. Omar realized that Lewis was just trying to help him, and Omar, he was scared a little bit, but then he got so brave, and he decided to appreciate what Lewis did for him. So he found some kind of photograph, and Omar decided to hang the photograph somewhere at the janitorial room or something, I don't know, or somewhere on the hallway, like in public, so people can remember what Lewis used to look like and honor him and remember the way he was when he was alive, like literally. So Omar treated him like a good person, a good janitor, and a good helper, the best coworker he ever worked with. So yes, he did the right thing, and I think so too. All right, let's go to number 6. Do you think the renovations helped Lewis step back? Yes. I absolutely think so, yes. If Lewis couldn't communicate with Omar or anyone else, he would still be stuck, reliving his final moments, reliving his death over and over and over. He would be trapped for all eternity in a spirit world, in the limbo between living and the dead. So Omar did the right thing, yes. So Lewis finally got helped, and he finally moved on. He will be watching over the building from beyond the grave, like from heaven or something. And Omar somehow thanked Lewis for helping him to prevent from the accidents. So good job. Anyway, let's go to number 7. What do you make of the sign, if you don't know, nobody does? I think that Lewis was trying to warn him about something. I have no words for that. I don't really know what to make of the sign. Perhaps the sign was trying to warn him about something. So, no wonder why. So, I think Lewis was trying to communicate with um, the principal, the contractor, maybe everyone who was still alive. He tried everything for centuries, and now that he saw Omar, he got through Omar, and he convinced everyone else as well. So I think it worked. So now everybody knows what was going to happen, and they finally prevented the accident. So I think that's exactly what they did. And I'm so glad Lewis found what he was looking for, to be remembered, to be honored, and appreciated for what work he has done when he was alive as a good maintenance of as a janitor. And I think that he'll be missed and remembered the way he was and what he did for us and for anyone else. So let's go to number 8. Can safety standards themselves become a haunting?
Yes.
Yes, it can. My answer will always gonna be a yes. A safety standard is that Omar finally realized what the safety standard was. He finally got convinced by a spirit named Lewis. Lewis somehow, when he was alive, he didn't know what was going to happen, or he might have, I don't know, he might have, but maybe he did, but it was too late, and he died from an accident. He tried to tell everyone when he was alive, but they didn't know what was happening. They didn't know that Lewis was dead. They were just too afraid, maybe, as well. So no one knew that Lewis died from the accident. They did not find his body because they didn't bother looking for him. They think he was still alive. So no wonder why Lewis was still trapped in that place for so long. He hasn't spoken to anyone since the day he died from the accident. So it became difficult for him. He accepted that he was dead, and he was still haunting the place where he died. Now that the truth was out, he was finally free. Let's go to number 9. All right, guys, we have 2 questions left before I sign off. And I was hoping you guys would be participating on this. Even my husband's participating on this without leaving me a comment down below, but it's fine.
I'm right here.
Yeah, he's just sitting right next to me with our cat behind us. Sorry, my ear's a little bit hurty sometimes too. It's fine. Would you want a ghost helping in hazardous spaces? Of course I would. My answer is always going to be a yes. If I needed help from a ghost, I would clearly want to talk to a spirit, see if I can get the advice from that spirit, see if he can help me clean up or something or whatever, but give me some ideas, that sort of help. But my answer will always going to be a yes. So let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you have any opinions and questions and some answers for this. Let me know. All right, guys, we are on the last question. Let me know if this makes any sense to you all. We're almost done because we are in like 15 minutes, almost an hour. So, if a dead janitor kept preventing accidents, how would you honor him? Well, if I
by trying to be more safe
and trying to tell everyone what really happened to him and trying to tell that there's going to be an accident, I think we should prevent it. We should find a safer place, that sort of thing. So we would have to hang his picture in the public hallway and think of him as a coworker, maybe like a human being, a good person. Remember what he did for us when he was alive. We would appreciate what he has done all these years when he was still a member of the institutional building or something like that. So I would think of him a lot. I would like close my eyes and imagine that he was still here, see if he would manifest in front of me, and I would tell him that he did a wonderful job and thank you. I would thank him for preventing the accident. That's how I would honor him. That we would thank him a lot and we would literally hang his picture and look at his picture and think of him, and he will be right there no matter what, even in death. But yes. All right, you guys, we are out of time. So thank you guys for watching and participating maybe. Thank you for listening and tuning in. You guys have been a great audience. Now it's time to sign off. So tomorrow we will be doing a new story called The Woman in the Records Office. This is a new story. So it's going to be episode 183. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful night and happy 4th of July. It's coming up this Saturday, July 4th. So stay safe and have fun, stay spooky, and just make sure you guys are staying safe as well. So good night, and please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you. Bye.